Okay, the digital life hack, it just got better because coming up after it, hear one of the most engaging calls from my weekend show. It's called The Kim Commando Show. Yeah, funny how that works. What percentage of Americans routinely spy on their partner's phones, reads their texts, and looks at location history? I'm Kim Commando for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Accelerate your AI workload today. Take a free test drive at oracle.com/Kim. Ready for this? More than half of all Americans confess they've snooped on their partner's phone. I get calls on my show all the time from people worried about their phone spying on them. Anyone, not just hackers, can use spyware apps. These apps are sold with good intentions, like keeping kids safe from harm and preventing scams on loved ones. But they can easily be misused. Is someone spying on your phone? Check your phone's apps. Look for ones that are tracking texts, calls, or social media. They have names like mSpy, Spy Bubble, Hoverwatch. Any apps with titles that have the word spy that you did not install, well, that's a big clue. But seriously, if you have to spy on your partner's phone, you have much bigger issues than that. Get my free newsletter at getkim.com. All right, just as I promised, here's a fantastic call for my show that you've got to hear. Brian in Nashville, Tennessee. Hi there, Brian.
Hello. I got a question about internet security. I'm always interested in internet security, privacy at the home. And, of course, I was on your website, and I saw something in regard to how do you know whether or not your neighbors are tapping into your internet, whether or not someone's using your internet, whether or not, if they do, can it be a private, can they actually see get involved in what you've got on your internet?
Mm-hmm. So are you worried that they are using your internet?
No, not really. I just saw something on that, and
all right.
And I was like, okay, because you said I think there was a way to check it, and
sure.
I was like, well, how would you go about checking it? And
Absolutely.
It's like I'm interested in password vaults and in VPNs and stuff like that.
No,
so
it gets to be so much, doesn't it? You're like, oh man, my eyes are just glazing over.
I gotta have a list of 10 things here to do in order to stay safe on the internet. So,
well, first of all, let's talk about your Wi-Fi, because that was your initial question. The reason why you don't want your neighbors on the Wi-Fi is because if they use your network for something illegal, then the cops and the FBI come knocking at your door.
Okay.
And that's happened to countless people across the United States. And so that's why it's always a good idea to lock down your wireless network. And by doing that, you have to change the default password. And there are steps to do that. Basically, you get into what's called the router's administration page. And you get there by typing an IP address into your browser. It's normally on the back of the router or somewhere in the documentation that came with the routers. You find some address. It's be like you type into the browser like 197.70.210.55 or whatever it may be. And if you have trouble finding that IP address, is that you can always just Google that, say, I've got a Netgear, a TP-Link, ASUS router, whatever it is with the model number, and it's going to pop up for you. And then you log in with your username and password, again, using normally found on the router itself, unless you've changed it. And then you start getting into this. You get into the router, so you're going to change the default password, okay? Which obviously you've never done, so we want to make sure that that's changed, okay? There's going to be a section called attached devices, connected devices, a device list, and that will tell you all the devices that are connected to your network. So if it's only you and your wife and the kids, and you've got 25 devices, then you're like, okay, something's wrong, okay? And then there are ways that you can review the list of connected devices, and you want to search by name, by MAC address, and then again, if you see any unfamiliar devices, then that means that other people are using your Wi-Fi. Now, if you immediately change the Wi-Fi password, combination of letters, numbers, etc., is that's going to boot everybody off, as well as if you do a factory reset on the router itself, it's going to boot everybody off. Now, you want to do WPA2, better yet, WPA3 encryption. If it's WEP encryption, you can't have that. There are other things that you want to enable. But let us find a great tip for you, Amber. If you want to make a note, let's find a great tip that we have on the website that will walk Brian exactly how to check to see if there is anybody on the network, and also how to change this password. Because this is the first place to start on securing your home network, is at the router itself. And then after the router, then we can start talking about, setting up a guest network for your Internet of Things and for people who are coming over. Obviously, that's why it's called a guest network. Using a VPN. What type of security software are you using? Your two-factor authentication, password manager. So the whole idea is that we're going to fortify that house there, Brian, to make sure that the bad guys and gals can't get through. But we're going to start with giving you the exact steps on how to get into your admin area router and then change the password and then do all those other good things like find out if the neighbors are on them, then boot their butt right out. And Brian, thank you so much for your call today. Hey, huge thanks for tuning in, folks. And if you've got a question that's burning a hole in your brain, just drop me a line. Head over to commando.com, with a K, of course, and tap Email Kim. Yes, I do read every single question. Now, for tech insights you can't afford to miss, grab my free daily newsletter over at getkim.com.